popular ever since their release. As we count down the list, we'll be measuring these champions by the popularity of them throughout the years in solo queue, but also taking into account the popularity of them in competitive play. But to be fair, the popularity of a champion in solo queue tends to be heavily related to the popularity of a champion in competitive play anyways. And as well, I'm doing another giveaway with some friends, and we're giving away 50 bucks of RP and a Razer Deathstalker Chroma keyboard, and it's super easy to enter, so just check the link in the description if you want a chance to win that sweet RP or a sweet Razer keyboard. Anyways, let's get started. Number 10 is Janna. Although Janna hasn't been as popular in solo queue as some of the other picks on this list, she's still been a popular option ever since Season 1, and Janna's kit and strengths allow her to succeed in any meta, and she's always been a top tier support champion throughout the years. And her relevance in the meta has caused her to always be popular in competitive play, and a great option for solo queue as well. And so she's remained quite a popular pick, and she gets a lot of points for consistently being played as a fairly popular option throughout 5 years of League of Legends, and that consistency is what puts Janna on this list. Number 9 is Ezreal. His forgiving and super fun kit allowed him to stay on top as a popular pick in solo queue ever since his release. He's been top tier for quite a long time, and it was only up until the Season 5 tank meta when he finally started to fall out of place. But with the new Ezreal buffs, he's once again being played, and when Ezreal was strong, he was amongst the most popular champions in the entire game. And he was strong for the better half of 3 or 4 seasons due to the crazy utility he used to have in his kit. And even now he's still quite popular due to being a fairly fun champion that is great for players learning AD carry or who just happen to enjoy Ezreal. Not to mention the Ezreal mids we saw pop up here and there too, so overall he's been quite popular. Number 8 is Jinx. Although Jinx hasn't been out for as long as some of the other champions on this list, ever since her release she's been extremely popular in both solo queue and competitive play. Her strength as a champion allowed her to stay relevant, while the fact that she's an AD carry means that she was able to dodge high ban rates that some other stronger champions faced. AD carries tend to not have high ban rates too often, no matter how good they are, while a dominant top laner, mid laner, or jungler will often see crazy high ban rates, which will hurt their popularity as a pick quite a bit. And Jinx being super strong, with extreme relevance in competitive play, and well, that popularity carried over to solo queue quite a lot. Number 7 is Blitzcrank. He's a champion who maybe wasn't so popular in competitive play, but his kit of being able to pick people off so well caused him to stay extremely popular in solo queue for quite a few seasons. His solo queue power and ability to exploit players has made him a relevant champion throughout the history of solo queue really. And I'm sure we all know the terror of facing a prominent Blitzcrank player. Hooking someone in for a kill is a great feeling, and he's always been a solo queue power pick. Number 6 is Yasuo. Here we see a champion who has remained popular mainly due to the fact that he's quite fun to play. Yasuo's complex kit and mechanics gives players loads of options and makes him an appealing champion to those who want to have those options in the champion they play. In addition, his reasonable power in the meta helps him quite a bit in terms of popularity, and although he's not as popular as he used to be one of the most popular champions in the entire game for quite some time, and has still remained one of the most played champions to this day. Number 5 is Thresh. Thresh on release revolutionized the support role for a surprisingly large amount of the player base. Before Thresh, the support role was seen as an extremely bland option for most players, and you were just a ward bot with the sole purpose of just helping your team. But Thresh really established and pioneered the playmaking support playstyle for solo queue, and with it, a lot of players found a newfound fun, not only in Thresh as a champion, but in the support role as a whole. And with that, he's brought a lot of popularity to himself, and since he's been a top tier support ever since his release, that popularity remained consistent, and Thresh has been one of, if not the most played support champions for quite a long time. Number 4 is Zed. Exciting and playmaking kits are starting to be a recurring theme here, as how fun a champion is to play goes a long way to making them super popular. That, among with his power of being an assassin, caused Zed to be quite the popular choice ever since his release. Assassins tend to be quite popular champions since they're fast, they're fun, and they snowball like crazy to where if you get fed you just end up feeling like a god. so anytime an assassin is strong in the meta, they tend to be quite popular to play. And Zed was the main champion to pioneer the assassin meta entirely based on his strength as a champion and popularity in competitive play that carried over to solo queue quite well, and he still remains fairly popular even as the assassin meta has faded away. Number 3 is Caitlyn. By being a super easy to play AD carry but still having the relevance she needed in the meta, Caitlyn has remained a consistently popular option ever since Season 1. Although when she was played in the meta, she wasn't as crazy popular as some of the other picks on this list, her consistency of being played throughout the years has been quite fantastic, and she still had her moments of popping in and out of being a top tier AD carry pick here and there. By being a somewhat easy to play AD carry that has been consistently strong enough, she's been the go-to option for almost all players looking to tackle the mountain of mechanics that is the AD carry role, and she often ends up being the champion those players tend to stick with. And so by being like a gateway AD carry, she's been consistently popular ever since her release. Number 2 is Vayne. She currently sits at the most popular champion at the time of making this video, but the key thing is that throughout the metas where Vayne was or was not a strong pick, she's consistently been at a fairly high play rate, and has been popular in competitive play too, and has been the most played champion in the game a handful of times, every time she's powerful in the meta really. Her challenging kit but insane potential to solo carry a game creates a perfect combo that results in a champion that loads of players see as being super fun to play. Her high risk, high reward style is super exciting and is what a lot of players look for in a champion they want to play. Her competitive relevance has been quite prominent as well, and even though she's popped in and out of the meta here and there, she's always been a popular champion. And number 1 is Lee Sin. He takes the cake for being the most consistent base level of play rate, while also being the champion who held the most played champion in the game for the longest amount of time. His lows are higher than any other champion on this list, and his highs are higher as well. And his consistency for being popular is unmatched due to the fact that Lee Sin's super fun and exciting kit has caused a large amount of players to enjoy the heck out of playing Lee Sin. His relevance in the meta has also been a huge factor, as Lee Sin was the best jungler in the game, if not a tier 1 jungler, for a solid part of 3 seasons or even more. This caused him to be highly contested in competitive play, and high popularity in competitive play almost always carries over to solo queue, but Lee Sin managed to do that so consistently, and even now that he's fallen out of the meta, his play rate is still above 20%, even when he's honestly an arguably weak champion for solo queue right now. And I'm sure you can imagine what it was actually like when he was a top tier jungler and was a super powerful option. So overall, Lee Sin's consistency and outstanding popularity makes him the most played champion in League of Legends history.